We do have a replacement for our moderator today, so it's going to be Rebecca Mejia as pinch hitting. And then we also are adding another speaker, Jose Melecio from the VA. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody, for being here this afternoon, and thank you for that former panel. That was amazing. Kudos to Fred and to Tom over here. Well, we are the final panel, I guess, for the evening. So we're between the job matching and the reception. So let's make this count, I guess. I would like to introduce everybody on this panel. First, we have Jose Melecio. He is from the VA, and he's going to talk a little bit about his organization. We have another Jose, but we call him Jose P. Rivas from Accenture, and then we have Belen from NHIT. So we have government, we have, well, military, we have private sector, we have nonprofit. So I just want to thank you each for being here today, and Jose, can we start with you?
Certainly. All right, we start with bio background.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do for the VA?
Sure.
You know, what brought you here today, and how you can, you know, give some good words of wisdom to the folks that are here today listening.
Right. Will do. So Jose Melecio, originally born in Caguas, Puerto Rico. So a little whoop there. Been with the Air Force veteran with a background in healthcare. Transitioned to the VA hospital after I separated from the Air Force, and been with the VA for about 15 years now. And now I'm currently the National Program Manager with the Outreach, Transition, and Economic Development Division of the Veteran Benefits Administration. And I'm here to kind of help elaborate a little bit more on VA opportunities, VA careers, and kind of maybe break down the different parts of VA which are not commonly known.
Okay, thank you very much. And Abe?
Yeah, so recognizing that this is recorded and 2 Air Force vets here that showed up in blue and brown, you know, we got the note here. So I am with Accenture. I'm a managing director and run our what we call our North America Aerospace and Defense. So it's a great nexus of my military background, my veteran background, and then also being in consulting, in addition to really honing in on cloud, what we call cloud in the South, cloud migration, all the things associated with digital transformation. So it's very interesting, you know, kind of the journey to get here. Being a Air Force Security Forces officer, still a reservist at the Pentagon. I work OSD policy, have been there for almost 4 years now. So, you know, I really get the opportunity to see, you know, a lot of our almost exiting veterans, folks that are working at the Pentagon, kind of what that journey is going to look like, and being able to also bring to the table, you know, what industry looks like, what commercial sector looks like. So, you know, one of the main reasons, you know, why I'm super excited about being here is kind of, we heard it through other panels, that paying it forward, right? I mean, I am the oldest of 7 children and first graduate from college, and to be sitting up here and being able to you know, kind of impart like what it is to separate from the military, to go into commercial sector and be successful, this affords me the opportunity. So we'll talk a little bit maybe more about the jobs and the opportunities out there from a consulting perspective, I think, as we go on to the panel. But you know, the title of this panel being Consulting and Other is appropriate, right? I mean, we heard about the finance aspect, we heard about the IT aspect, and now we get a chance to really talk through what are all the other opportunities out there for military vets, you know, leaving the service to, you know, have a productive second career as, you know, you enter into the new workforce.
Thank you very much. And yourself?
Belen, I'm the CEO of the National ALVA Collaborative for the Underserved. But most importantly, I was born and raised in the most beautiful part of Puerto Rico, Tapalquera.
Yeah.
Right? We could have that argument if you want. No, so born in Puerto Rico, come from La Palguera, small fishing and farming community, but grew up in New York City, in East Harlem, South Bronx. I'm not a veteran, but I do have a brother retired Chief Petty Officer from the Navy, who's a veteran, and I'm going to share his story as we continue. But NHIT, we focus on leveraging health information technology to address health disparities. So I come to this conversation on this whole focus of the $4.5 trillion business of health and the whole innovation that takes place in health, right? A lot of folks just, when they think about what communities, they're seeing us as the consumers of health, but they don't talk to our communities about the workforce, the innovation, the opportunities that happens in health. And so I would like to elaborate on some of that.
Thank you so much, Luis. So let me start with Abe. You know, Abe, why don't you tell us a little bit about what type of work is available at Accenture for the veterans, and just kind of talk about, you know, how can they access, you know, different job boards, you know, is it through LinkedIn, is it through reaching out to, I don't know, headhunters, for example? So talk to us a little bit about that.
Sure. I mean, maybe a little bit of context. So it amazes me constantly. I have been at Accenture for going on 12 years. When I joined, Accenture was about 250,000 people. We're now 780,000 people.
Wow.
So if you think about the opportunities out there, and you think about the breadth and experience that all of us can bring to it, you know, I would say number one, there is an opportunity, there is a job, there is a billet out there, you know, in U.S. or globally for anything that we have done in the service. So I'd say that's kind of, you know, point one. How you get access to it, we heard in earlier panels, really I would say the networking aspect of it. I know our recruiters actively recruit through LinkedIn as part of the process. Knowing somebody in the inside is always helpful. You know, and I'm wearing some Michigan socks here, so you know somebody now. If you happen to be Ohio State, sorry, no job for you. But you know, other than that, I welcome. You know, and I have my card here as well, because there is a front of the line process. The mentality is, you know, if somebody from within is going to vouch for you, it's probably because they know your skill set and they'd be willing to work with you as well. I'd say the other is we have very formal programs depending on where your expertise is, right? A lot of what we do is strategy, consulting, technology are really our three, you know, big bread and butter. So we have a strategy development program, a consulting development program, and a technology development program that really allow you to rotate throughout our business, get an understanding of where you want to be when you grow up in big Accenture. All of those are ways that you can get in the door, in addition to, you know, simply just the profiles and the open requisitions. But what I will tell you is the resume is key there, right? I mean, because we use AI, we use technology to basically take a look at those resumes. And the last thing I'll say here is what I always tell veterans when you're leaving the service, right? Mission, vision, execution is what we're used to, and we tend to write ourselves into those descriptors in civilian life and in commercial. It is about action, impact, and value. There's a lot of similarities, but they're not one and the same. And making that mental transition of what you do and the value that you bring is really a head start in how you get your foot in the door in a commercial, you know, company.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. And please tell us a little bit about NHIT, and I know that you wanted to raise awareness about what your organization does, and talk to us about the pros and cons of working at an organization, you know, such as yours.
Yeah, so the National Health IT Collaborative, the NHIT, was launched on June 8, 2008. It was funded by the Office of Minority Health at HHS and the National Institute of Minority Health and Health Disparities at NIH. Early on, a lot of the work that you're talking about, the BEATS and NCIA's effort, but we had a similar initiative in the healthcare space, which was the HITECH Act, which is getting electronic health records adoption and patient portals adoption. Now you have health information exchange, right, taking place. That's what NHIT was born to do early on. I mention that is because I'm going to transition to my brother. Okay. My brother is a Afghanistan and Iraq war veteran. who got his MBA and PNP while he was in the service. And with the work that NHIT does, working with the Health Information Management Systems Society and some of the other big conferences, when he was transitioning, he was going to those conferences around health information technology, around healthcare, and doing networking in that space, right? And now he's a program analyst at the VA, doing amazing work, right? So I just say, it's not just what you do as a veteran, but it's how you transition, how you leverage your network in the work that you do.
And that's a great story, because we're all here to network, to learn, and, hopefully that story can inspire one or two people to, continue to participate in all this. So, Jose, tell us a little bit about the federal contracting over at the VA, because I know that you want to elaborate a little bit about that and how people can access that.
Sure, definitely. So I think it's important to first understand the different departments and organizations within, we'll just use the VA for example, because hey, that's what I know. So to give an example, so DOD, basically you've got one big DOD, right? And then you've got Air Force, Army, and all the different components under that, right? So you've got big VA, right? And you've got VHA, which is Veterans Healthcare Administration, and you've got VBA, which is Veteran Benefits Administration, and then you have NCA, which is National Cemetery Administration, right? So these are all three different components to the one big overarching, right, VA as a whole. All VA, but all different managing components, different businesses, different business lines, and a lot of folks don't really realize that initially coming out when you're trying to apply and find different jobs, right? And so each department, each phase or part of the VA as a whole has vast amount of different opportunities and jobs, right? So to access these opportunities, the main way to search those jobs is through usajobs.gov. Since we're recording, I definitely wanted to make sure we mentioned that. It's important to set up a profile there. You want to make sure you have all your DD-214, right, which is our proof of service, right? If you're a disabled veteran, your VA award letter has to be a part of your profile. And it's very important to have these documents in there because VA is one of the few organizations that recognizes your service and also gives you points towards your application, right? So each applicant is graded as in normal circumstances, but your veteran status gives you extra points, right? So you get 5 points for being a veteran, 10 points for being a disabled veteran, and that gives you that leg up, that little bit of push that you might need to get you over the hump to get that interview, right? And of course, I would say that's definitely one of the pros to wanting to join the VA as a whole. That's all I got on that.
That was very good. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about the pros and cons of working in each of your organizations or sectors? Starting with you.
So on the nonprofit side, the work that I do, there's a lot of advocacy, right? So at NHIT we focus on 5 different pillars: policy, research, workforce, innovation, and community. One of the big issues that I like to talk about is that innovation piece, right? Because there's a lot of opportunities in our communities that our communities benefit from, but we don't gain the access, right? There's a lot of federal contract and federal funding that takes place that we don't gain access to, right? So that's the job of NHIT is to bring awareness to those things, right? That the reality is that it's great that these programs are out there, but unless our veterans and our communities are participating in gaining access, we're not, as a community, benefiting.
How about yourself, Dave? What are some of the pros and cons?
Yeah, so what I would say is, the pros for me in working in a really large commercial consulting company is we're typically at the cutting edge of, you know, what's coming next. You know, I was looking up some of our numbers because I'm always interested in, you know, as the year ends. In the last 2 years, Accenture has acquired 80 companies in excess of about $7.5 billion. And what I glean from that is they are the companies, they are the capabilities, they are the areas that industry across the board, finance, IT, HR, are going to be investing in, and it's almost a look into where we can start to build our skill sets. You know, as an example, AI, digital, data, and not just from a technology perspective. I'm a political science person, I'm a security forces officer. I am not technical in nature, but I do the people part. I can do the operating model, the org design, the talent acquisition, the talent transformation, and that's what I focus in on in those emerging areas. So I think that's the pro is, you know, we being at the forefront and then being able to glean into where is the future of business going. I think the con is probably very similar. It's so fast changing that you have to be able to redefine yourself. I would say on average, you know, redefine yourself individually and redefine the market every 2 to 5 years. Personally, you know, I've had to change in 12 years my brand probably 4 or 5 times just to stay relevant, and part of that is self-development. Like, where am I interested in learning new things that are outside my comfort zone? And it's a pro-con, but it requires time and effort to get out there, research it, and develop yourself. It's not just gonna happen.
That's a very good response. I appreciate that. And how about yourself?
Pros in our space, definitely is job security, right? You know, everybody coming to the federal government, in theory, right? You're looking for that secure position and you're not worried about, hey, this contract's not gonna get renewed or whatever. You know, you're just constantly rolling with it, and you can progress as far as you like, right? You have opportunities in many different avenues, and you know, that definitely was a pro for me, especially transitioning out of the service. You know, we had, you know, Uncle Sam kind of had our back a little bit, and you know, you weren't getting fired, as the gentlemen before us were mentioned, you know, as far as stability and having that opportunity to kind of grow within your organization. And so definitely that's a huge pro for our space. Con, let's see, I want to make sure this is being recorded, so I make sure I get con. So, and a lot of times, because of that stability, there may be some opportunities that won't open up for you right away, right? So having to wait it out, you know, there's this job you really like, and you're really interested in it, but this person's been in it for 27 years, and you know, no retirement in sight, you know, and so, but there's other ways to kind of navigate and find other opportunities. So I've been in it long enough to kind of know how to navigate that space, and I'm more than willing to share any information or any of that knowledge with anyone. So.
Yeah, just want to add to that, right? We're both political science majors.
Yeah.
Right? And here I am running a health information technology organization, working with doctors and PhDs folks, right? Out in the world. And I think a lot of it is about being agile, right?
Yeah.
Just that, and nowadays it's called reinventing yourself as you go along, and you should not be shy about that. I like to talk about your lived experiences, and don't shy away from your lived experiences, right? The reality is, we were at the White House a couple of weeks ago, and Vice President Harris said, our voices need to be heard, right? So when we walk into a boardroom or a meeting, those voices need to be heard, and we carry the voices of our ancestors and those that came before us, right? So our lived experiences should be heard. So even just in general, right? Be agile, own who you are, right? And don't be shy of who you're backing yourself.
So that leads me to the last question, so then we can open up the floor for a question. You each had your own journey in getting to where you're at today. If you had to give a young veteran a piece of advice of something that you wish you could have done differently, or something that if you would have known then, that you could have done that, you know, that you could do that would have really maybe changed your path, or whether it's negative or positive, but something that you would like to leave, you know, with our audience?
I'll kick it off. I would just say, and it's pretty simple, I would say, be comfortable to be uncomfortable. So when I separated, you know, the natural transition for me was Air Force Security Forces, security consultant. And while it got me here, it was probably a longer path. I moved to Saudi Arabia for a year. I worked for the Ministry of Interior there for almost a year. I lived in Riyadh, great experience. But at the end of the day, it wasn't what I wanted to do. It's what I thought I was qualified to do. And sitting where I sit today, kind of to your point, right? Political science major, security forces officer. I interact with CIOs, CEOs, CHROs across every industry. And had I not been comfortable to be uncomfortable in my second pivot, I could have pigeonholed myself. And you know, to me, that is an important piece of, you're not going to do what you did in the military. Possibly you will. But if you can venture to you know, kind of spread your wings, there's a lot more opportunity out there, and I probably would have gotten here a lot faster.
I agree, that sounds like a very good advice. How about yourself, Jose?
I'd say one thing that I've learned from our Marine brothers and sisters was one of their mottos is being semper gumby, right? That's being able to be flexible and adapt to at any moment, right, in any situation. And that's kind of helped me in so many ways. And so tapping into that a little bit sooner, maybe it would have helped me to be able to navigate my transition from service a little bit better. Definitely, time and life is our best teacher, right? So we've learning something new every day and just kind of absorbing it, and you know, having mentors has been vital for my success, and finding the right individuals to mentor you. You know, as you're in the service, you've got your NCOICs or your OICs, right? And hopefully, we would hope that you had some great leadership at some point throughout your military career, and definitely those types of individuals have helped me, and as well as they retire, they've kind of helped me throughout as well, navigating the civilian space, and so super instrumental in helping me to get to where I'm at right now.
That's great. You're flexible, you're here today because you're
Yeah.
filling in with some
Absolutely.
That's how flexible you've become. And that's great. Mentorship is important. And now yourself, Luis.
I'm a follow up on that. So network, but
Yes.
most importantly, find a padrino, find a sponsor who's gonna vouch for you when you're not in the room, and is gonna talk truth to you, and give you that advice, right? So I think find the padrino. I have padrinos nowadays, and I know that they look out for me when I'm not in the room, and I can't overemphasize that. And I've used that throughout my whole career.
I think what each of you guys have said has been very impactful. I think those are great words of wisdom if you're leading the next generation and the folks that are listening right now, whether it's online or here in the room. So now I'll open up the floor to see if anyone has any questions for our fine panelists. Man, they must have answered everything really well. They were very thorough.
I will put a plug out there as well, because I think it's important. So one of the things that we do is formal numbers. You know, Accenture hires. Right now, we've got a number of 5,000 veterans,
Yes.
which is important. I mean, because
Yes.
you know, we are rewarded by what we publicize out there. And in addition to the veteran community, the Latino community, diversity is a big thing. But I throw it out there because you know it is part of what we put on Wall Street. It's our numbers, and you know we're rewarded for bringing in quality skills like we have here today.
That's great. Yes, Kathy.
I just wanted to ask the first Jose to reintroduce yourself because you're not up there, and I've got Jose and VA and Air Force, so aim high. But I wanted to hear your whole name. Thank you.
So a reintroduction, is that what
Yeah,
you
just because you're not up there and I was trying to get a review.
No problem. Jose Melecio, originally from Caguas, Puerto Rico, and Air Force veteran, as you heard. And my current position is I'm a National Program Manager for Veterans Benefits Administration.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Any other questions?
No, I just want to say, Jose, you and I have talked. Roy Love, we talked a lot on the phone. It's the first time I see you. So
Yes, sir.
it's good to see you.
Gotta get a hug in the lobby.
All right. Justin, do you have any questions?
No, I think
We're good for time, right?
we're.
Okay. All right, well, that's it, gentlemen. Thank you so much for attending today.
Let's have his cocktails.
Cocktails are coming up. I heard there's some bourbons over there.
Thank you. All right, folks, so that's our program for this afternoon. I invite you to please visit Wells Fargo and McKesson and speak to the folks at AT&T and T-Mobile and Accenture and all of the other great organizations that are here. Bristol Myers Squibb is here, and NTIA is here as well. So let's take advantage of the next hour or so to interact and find ways to be able to explore job opportunities and share thoughts on how we can hire more Latino veterans in some of these great roles. I invite you also to stick around for our awards reception that'll be right on the other end of the floor here. It's going to be a wonderful opportunity to be able to not only celebrate those honorees, but also get to know each other and network. Thank you all again. God bless. We'll see you soon. Thank you again.